Welcome to the Umbrella Chronicles, accessing file number 249811149RC.
Biohazard. The outbreak occurred in the summer of 1998. It started in the American Midwestern town of Raccoon City and brought hell to Earth. The T-virus was developed as a biological weapon, proliferating amongst the unsuspecting public. It metamorphosed them into living death zombies.
Continuing with the games I played before, the Umbrella Chronicles, or like I like to call it, Best of Resident Evil. The Umbrella Chronicles retells the stories of Resident Evil 0, 1 and 3 in a shorter and more action-packed kind of way. And also sometimes it's told a bit differently than it was shown in the previous games, but mostly it stays true to the source material. There's also another story which is exclusive to the Umbrella Chronicles. Each chapter is narrated by Wesker, who also gives some more insights into what happens. Without knowledge of the games, it is a bit hard to follow though. But we aren't here for the story, we are here for the action. And what can I say? It's quite satisfying. As I played it before, I already had some weapons upgraded, so they had the necessary punch. You start with the pistol but find a bunch of other guns soon. You get shotguns, MPs, grenade launchers, rocket launchers and magnums, most of them in 2 or 3 variants. All of them can be upgraded with a simple star system. In each chapter you can also decide if you play one of 2 characters. I didn't see any difference gameplay wise. I guess it's just to have a decision for decision's sake, and so a second player can join. In the chapters for Zero you can choose between Rebecca or Billy, and play through the most iconic moments of Resident Evil 0, like the train, the sewers and the lab. In chapters regarding the remake you shoot your way through the mansion as either Jill or Chris, and in the Part 3 Nemesis chapters you can also play as Jill or Carlos. Depending on how well you finish the chapter, you earn a couple of stars which can be invested into weapons. The rating is made out of time, enemies killed, critical shots, destroyed objects and found collectibles. The collectibles are found by shooting destroyable objects and collecting umbrella signs. These collectibles and good ratings unlock archive material, which are objects from the games and texts. You can also unlock additional chapters. These include following Wesker and what he actually did during the games, including his resurrection and escape from the mansion in Part 1 and how he fights another Umbrella operative called Sergei. There are also chapters with Rebecca and Richard, and this time I was able to save him. In the Resident Evil remake I unfortunately let him die as I was getting lost in the mansion. I was also able to play as Hank, and while his chapter was one of the hardest, I was able to complete it. Which was nice as I couldn't complete it in Resident Evil 2 remake. To be honest, I did switch between normal and easy mode this time, because my primary goal was to unlock everything, upgrade as much as possible and collect as many collectibles as possible. And it was kind of great, to be honest. It is a very fun game. It is of course not scary, but it is action-packed, cool, and I really enjoyed the gameplay and replaying the chapters and finally seeing all the chapters. The stories are quite fun and it really adds to the experience that I played the previous games and now actually know what is happening and don't have to fill in the blanks with my imagination. The gameplay is simple enough but well made. You aim the motion controller at the zombies on the screen, aim at the weak point like heads, and shoot at them when the crosshair starts blinking, or shoot at the zombie until they're dead. When enemies get too close to you, use your knife by holding the move button and slash around. For grenades you make a throw motion while holding the motion button. You can also collect the objects like guns, herbs which immediately heal you, first aid sprays which work like an extra life, so when you die you will have a first aid spray. It just continues instead of bringing you back to the last checkpoint, which saves time and nerves. You reload by flicking the motion controller and have to time your reloads. The camera movement is rather slow and most of the time you have enough time to observe your environments and collect what you need. The difficulty curve is also quite enjoyable. The first chapters are super easy, and it gets more and more difficult as it progresses. I can't remember if I died once. I think I died when playing the Hunk chapter for the first time. As I said, I did play a lot on easy mode this time though. There are a lot of weapons and a lot to upgrade, and a lot to collect. So there is a huge replay value, which is one of the most important things for lightgun shooters, and this is handled very well here. The story is good enough and entertaining enough, and unlocking all the bonus chapters is pretty cool. I can also see myself replaying this at some point. This is a really good one and a bit of a love letter to the Resident Evil franchise, and hits the perfect balance between action and story for a lightgun shooter. There isn't too much talking, there's a lot of action, and while it shows only a short recap of the stories, it's enough to make sense and is even more enjoyable when you know the previous games. It also plays good in general from a gameplay perspective, and looks good enough for a Wii port on the PS3. I really had a blast replaying this one, and originally wanted to take a break here and continue in a while with the next one, which is also a lightgun shooter, but I think I will continue with Darkside Chronicles. And Umbrella Chronicles gets a well-deserved 8 out of 10. Compared to other lightgun shooters, I think this could even be a 9 out of 10. Maybe I just enjoyed it so much because the last lightgun shooters I played were really bad. But this one, yeah, it's a really good one. Also, I quite enjoy to pick up the move controller and play some decent lightgun shooters. And this here was a good reason to return to this kind of genre and have fun with it. I have some other lightgun shooter reviews prepared and maybe will post those at some point. So yeah, so if this is something you like, there will be more coming at some point.